What's going on, guys? I wanted to do a little video here to kind of add an idea to build all the cars that I've had over the years, personally, like in real life. So I'm just going to do that for this video. I think that'd be kind of cool. So the first car I had was a 1998 Mitsubishi Eclipse convertible, non-turbo, front-wheel drive, automatic. So, yeah. It was this color here, which is called, I believe it was G56 Monarch Green Pearl. It was a turbo car. Leave the stock engine in it. You can't make a front wheel drive, sadly, so we'll have to leave it like that. Anyway, so I didn't have anything special for tires. I just had cheapo tires on it. I did have 225s on it, which aren't listed here, so we'll just throw 235s on it, I guess. Wheels, I had a set of, what were they? They were TSWs. I doubt they're going to be in here. I think it was that one right there. Yeah, it was that one. They were 17-inch. I remember that. Slapped 17s on there. It was stock, although I think the offset was a little nicer than the factory. This was back when I was in high school, so it was also automatic, so there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about that aspect. However, it was a built auto. So what I'm going to try to do is kind of match what it was done to this thing. Some brakes, I had nothing. I did have some lowering springs on it. They were, I think, Tane S-Techs on Coney yellow adjustables, if I remember correctly. There was actually no rear sway bar on the car, so yeah, I'm not going to bother with that. And the interior was mildly stripped. So no power steering, no AC, none of that. Engine, it did have an intake. It had 775 FICs in it. Ignition was factory with a set of wires, so we'll just, kind of keep it there. Holder plug. Exhaust was a 3-inch turbo back. Stock cam, stock valve. Displacement was actually 2.4 liter. So I'm going to see. Yeah, you can do that. Internals were stock. Turbo was a 16G, which is bigger than factory, so we're just going to run with this one here. I did have a front mount. No oil cooling, and it was an auto, so no flywheel. So we're not going to worry about that. So we're going to paint it similar to what it looked like. It was a convertible, so I'm going to paint the top black. Alright, so here we are back with the car. It was this color. However, it was a gloss. I don't know if... I don't recall Mitsubishi ever offering a semi-gloss or a matte like this in this color. Or ever, to be honest. But anyway, this is pretty much how the car looked. Like I said, it was a convertible though, so I just kind of painted the top black to kind of, make it look like a convertible at least. Yeah, this is pretty much it. It wasn't fast. Made like 319 wheel horsepower, I believe, the last time I had on the dyno. Only time I ever had on the dyno, to be honest. This is exactly how the interior looked, minus the head unit, and it being an automatic. It was this gray, and it was cloth seats, but it was this gray, fake leather, plastic everywhere. Pretty much identical, actually. It's kind of nice. Nice as in, you get to look at what my shitbox used to look like. Anyway, that was my 1998 Eclipse. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, we're back. This car was my next car, which was a 1997 Eclipse Spyder GST, which that one was a factory turbo. The other one was not. It was a non-turbo that converted to a turbo. Once again, I can't make it front wheel drive. This one did have a body kit on it, sadly. I didn't put it on there personally, but I believe it actually was this VIS one here. Did not have a wing. It didn't have a wing at all. It was just a factory shaved. Rear bumper was this one actually. Awesome. So it looks like everything's gonna be here. Yep, those side skirts as well. Hood was factory. It's kind of cool. I can sort of make it look like what it used to be. This one I don't think had any special wheels or tires on it. It did have a set of Ankies on it. I'm not sure which ones they were. Let's see if they have them. These guys here. I believe they were also 17s. It's been several years, so they were just silver though. Fitment was factory, so you know. It was a stick car. Didn't have it. I think it had a special I think it had like a stage 2 Inky, or not Inky. Who makes it? Brakes were factory. Did have springs on it. Again, it was convertible, so really wasn't much done to the thing. This one had just an intake on it. Had injectors in it. Had exhaust. No cams, no valves, no internals. It had a whole set HX35 on it, a front mount. And we're just going to throw flywheels in there anyway, lightweight flywheel. So this is pretty much how it looked like modification wise. 1 second, we'll do the paint and we'll take a look at it. So here we are back with the Eclipse, the 97 Spyder GST. It's kind of cool that they actually had the body kit that was on it. I kind of wish I could get rid of the factory spoiler like it was. Mine was shaved. I bought it with the kit already on it. I never got it running. This was just a project car. Yeah, it was just a stock internal 4G63 5-speed car. Whole set H1C, punishment racing front mount intercooler, bigger injectors, exhaust, you know, the usual stuff. There was nothing special about it really. I kind of wish I still kept it because they had a lot of good parts on it. Yeah. Interior was the same, this gray. I think all the Eclipses had this gray interior, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so this is kind of how it looked back when I had it. I didn't have it for very long. I kind of dumped it quickly, but yeah. So this is what it looked like, and we'll compare it to the pictures. And yeah, we're on to the next car.
Alright, real quick, the next one was a 1992 Talon TSI all-wheel drive, all crimson red, automatic. It's a great fun car. I'm surprised Forza doesn't have any in the games. It's a shame, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, it was a fun car. Yeah, there's not much to say about it, I guess. And the second car was my daily for a little bit. It was a 1992 Lexus LS400, 4-liter 1UZ. Sounded amazing. I cut the mufflers off, threw an intake on it, and threw those TSWs I had on my green car on it, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, it was 117,000 miles. The body was super clean, super straight, not a speck of rust on the thing. Should have kept it, never did, unfortunately, but it is what it is.
So yeah, here's the next one. This is an 87. Mine was an 88. Pontiac Firebird Formula WS6. It was not a GTA or Trans Am. However, it did have some special done to it. So we're going to take a look at that here. When I bought it, it had a 305, didn't run. I was told it needed a starter, which I didn't carry anyway because the 305 was getting scrapped. So I pulled the engine out to replace it with an LS, like you do. And unfortunately, the 305 tossed a rod, so yeah, the block was worthless, so I scrapped it. But yeah, so we had an LS in there, so we're gonna throw the LS3 in there. And it was turbocharged. It was not twin turbocharged. It was just a single GT4508, which is the 80 mil version. And yeah, so we're going to see what we could, if we can match it up here a little bit. Had no, I believe it didn't even have a rear spoiler, so I kind of wish I could get rid of that, but you can't. Also had the factory hood with the cowl that was kind of offset on the driver's side, which obviously isn't in the game, sadly. So yeah, tires, I had some MTs on there, some drag radials. Fronts were skinnies. Unfortunately, I can't put skinnies on it, so backs, I think they were like 3 something. They were 10.5-inch wheels, so 305s probably were going to do it. I think they were just on some cheap drag radial or drag wheels from like Jegs or something. So we're gonna see if we can find those guys in here. There's the 5-spoke, you know, $100 wheel on Jegs. Kind of similar to that, but not quite. This is my first and only, well, actually I shouldn't say only, but my first muscle car that I owned, quote unquote muscle car. It wasn't really a muscle car, it was kind of weak. We'll just use those, very similar. There's 15s, so I can't go any lower than a 16 in the rear, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just going to keep trucking. It was auto, so there was none of this. Welded diff count. Discs were stock. Suspension was pretty much stock. The interior was gutted. Completely, I should say. Intake, well, you could say open turbo intake. It had a fuel system in it. Had ignition, coil and plugs. Exhaust was like a 4-inch exhaust, I believe. It was a big honker. Stock cam, stock valve, stock displacement. Turbo was a big honker. That was right about where it was anyway. I had a front mount. Oil cooling, no. So yeah. It looked very similar to this, so that's pretty much it, to be honest. I don't really have anything to change about it. It looked very similar, minus the Firebird body being different than the Trans Am body, sadly. So yeah, this is it here. Not really feeling this one since it was different, but if we get in it. Oh, that gives me throwbacks actually. The door handles, it's so goofy. The dash is square. Oh. Yep. Mine was gutted though, so all the I ripped everything out of the thing. It was completely gutted because it was trashed. It wasn't going to be worth a damn anyway, so yeah. Alright, next on the list was a 1995 Talon TSI all-wheel drive 5-speed car. Black, like this. This one was a completely stock engine with some modifications. It was a 2GA, so it did have this goofy front end. However, it did not have those ugly fog lights. It had twisty side skirts, which are not in here. Hood was a VIS, but it was not that one, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just going to slap that one on there. Did have some okay tires on it. They weren't crazy good or anything, but they were better. I believe I had 235s all around on that one, on 17-inch XXRs, which are not going to be in here, obviously. So we'll try to find something similar. They're XXR 527s, so I think we're going to run with these. we'll run with those. Those are 17s as well. I don't know why I just rocked 17s on everything. It's kind of a goofy size. These did poke quite a bit, so we're just gonna slap the widest on there, both of them. They poked like, I think, maybe a 1/4 inch outside the fenders, so that's pretty much how it was. Clutch was an Exity, that's what I was trying to think of last time. It was an Exity Exity 3-puck, stage 2. Trans was a built TMZ, the welded center diff. Rear end was stock. Brakes, I had a 3000 GT VR4 4-piston set on there on 13.5 inch SVT Cobra 4 or Cobra rotors. So I think we're gonna rock that one there. Was on springs. Had no real suspension mods done to it. Had some stripping done to it, no AC, stuff like that. Had a nice intake on it. Had 1050 FIC injectors and a Walbro 450 pump in the tank. I think it just had plugs and wires on that. 3-inch exhaust on the thing. Did have cams. Not sure what they were. I think they were HKS. They were 272s. I had a good lope to it. So we're just going to rock with the basic ones. Stock valve, stock displacement, stock internals. Had precision 6031 turbo on it. Big front mount. And a Fidan's aluminum flywheel. The car made around 400 horsepower, so I could probably get it up close to those marks there. Yeah. Maybe by just upping the cam. So yeah, here's roughly what it looked like. Once again, 95 Talon TSI AWD 5-speed black, XXR 527s in the gunmetal gray. Had a VIS carbon hood. It wasn't this one. It had a really big vent on the top of the hood. 3000 GT VR4, 4 pistons over 13.5 inch SVT Cobra rotors. Precision 6031, front mount, big exhaust, FIC 1050 injectors, Walbro 450 pump, ECM link, HKS 272 cams, Exity stage 2 clutch, Fidan's aluminum flywheel, TMZ built trans with a welded center diff. This was like my first build, but I rebuilt the engine. Yeah, I didn't put internals in it, sadly. I could have pushed a lot more if I did. But I figured the stock engine was going to be more than enough for my goal of around 400 horsepower. And it was. It was a fun car while it lasted. I ended up trading it for the next car on this list. But actually, I'm not going to do it next because I had more cars in between. So yeah, we're going to move on to the next one.
Okay, so the next one was another first gen. It was a 1992 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX automatic, black, all stock. Didn't touch it. I got it running, sold it for money, just to make money off it. I think I paid like $400 for it. So yeah, there's nothing too much about this one to go over. And the next one was my 1984 Datsun 300ZX Turbo 5-speed single owner car. Bought it with $209,000 on it. I paid $800. Did not run. I dropped the tank, checked the fuel pump, and one of the wires fell off the fuel pump. So I just fixed that, put it back together, and fired right up. And I actually drove it for a long time like that. It was a really reliable car. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I love the car.
So here's the deal. Forza Horizon does not have an Infiniti G35 or G37 or GIPL, which is kind of sad. They used to have an IPL in here. However, my next car was a 2003 Infiniti G35 Coupe 6MT with Brembos loaded. It was a fun car. There was nothing really much done to the thing. It was just a stock, daily driver. I didn't do anything to the thing. I think I had a front lip on it. something similar to that. So yeah, G35 is, or 350Z is actually pretty much the big brother, or the little brother, I should say, to the G35. So we're just going to use the 350Z while we can. I did have a set of 20s on it. They were drag, which I do not believe are in this game. Again, you kind of see I like the webs. They're actually very similar to this, so we're just going to run these. They were 20s, like I said. There were 10s, but I also only had 255s on the thing. I had a square stance, by the way. They were pretty flush to the body. So the front, we're going to kind of do that. That's about as far as I want to go. Clutch was some sort of clutch. I have no idea what it was. It was quite a heavy pedal for the car, and I know for a fact they're not supposed to be that heavy. Factory had Brembos. We're just going to stick those on there. It did have springs on it. There's really nothing much done to the thing. I had an intake and a platinum spacer, which is not in this game, so we're just going to slap this guy on here. And an exhaust. And that was it. Made a little less than that. Not 340 horsepower dyno. It made 304 crank. It made 250 at the tire. So we're going to back one of these off here. See if we can get it close to that figure. And we're not going to be able to. So, you know, that's good enough. Yeah, so bring it over to paint. I'll get the wheels and how the tint was, and we'll look at it. So yeah, this is kind of how it looked. 20-inch webs, Tane S-Tech springs, front lip, intake, exhaust. That's all that I did to it. There really isn't much you could do to these things, and actually, you know, make power with them to cover everything, which is absurd for how much power you get out of these things, which is not much, I should say. I can't say I can relate too much to this interior because it really wasn't anything like this. Obviously, Infiniti was a lot nicer than the Z. However, that shift knob is the right shift knob, so I'll let that go, actually. But yeah, on to the next car. So this is the car I traded my Talon for. It was a 97 3000 GT VR4. It was glacier white, just like this. It was a 6-speed twin-turbo car. Tan interior, which I don't think is in the game. It had 99 VR4 headlights, 94 front bumper, because it was in a pretty bad wreck before I bought it that I never actually knew about until after the fact. So yeah, we're just going to kind of run over this quick. I'm pretty sure they're not going to have the 90. Oh, actually I spoke too soon. That is the bumper that was in it. So yeah, we're going to rock that bumper. That's the spoiler it had. Had a hood very similar to this. It was a fiberglass black. Yeah, I don't know who made it. I think maybe VIS made it. I'm not too sure. Wheels are factory. Was lowered, so we're gonna move over there. Clutch, I believe everything was factory on this car. Brakes were factory. Springs. See, these are the brakes I actually had on my Talon. Kind of see them in there, the Mitsubishi calipers. It was on springs. It was about this height, I believe. Everything was pretty much factory on it. Had a K&N intake, so we're just going to slap a filter on there. Ignition was factory. It had a Tanabe medallion exhaust with downpipes. Had a pair of 15T turbos on it. No front mount. No flywheel that I know of. This is pretty much how it looked, minus the black hood. So I'm going to do that quick and we'll take a look at it. Okay, this is pretty much how it looked, 97 VR4. It was a hardtop car, so unfortunately there's a sunroof there. And the car originally had no sunroof, and somebody put a sunroof in it. And it wasn't the factory sunroof. So that was kind of a mess. But yeah, here it is. It had Tanabe exhaust, Canon intake, some sort of forge blow-off valve, I believe. Not 100% sure. It had tan interior, it was 6-speed twin turbo. 15T turbos. Hop in the thing. Honestly, this was probably one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. It was actually one of my dream cars for a long time. Yeah. So we'll give her a fire up here. And that's not anything what these sound like. Yeah, Forza did not get the sound of these right. These do not sound like a good sounding V6. These cars sound like a 2000 Toyota 4Runner with factory exhaust on them. They do not sound good. They just sound like a generic V6. So yeah, props on Forza for making it sound good and making people actually want to drive them in the game, I guess. But yeah, I'm actually pretty fond of this car. It was very comfortable. Very, very comfortable, actually. I love the seats. Yeah, there's not much to say about it. It was a fun car while I had it, but it moved on. So we'll move right on here. So my next car was a 91 Toyota Supra Turbo. Unfortunately, people want stupid amounts of money for these things, so I'm not going to be able to buy one for this video, sadly. Yeah, so we're going to move on to the next car. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so that's probably not going to happen. Actually, the next car also isn't in the game. It was a 1990 Plymouth Laser RS Turbo 5-speed. Blue metallic clear coat paint. Stock minus a 16G turbo. And yeah, it was another fun car. It had 60,000 miles on it. I ended up just flipping it just to make some money. So we're going on to the next one. So the next car on the list was a 1995 Mustang GT. Fortunately, there is none in this game, so we're just gonna have to make do here. Pretty sure the engine that came in this car is actually that is the same size. It was a 331 stroker, which was like a 5.45 something, 5.4 something. It was almost a 5.5 liter. It's just a naturally aspirated car. Can I get rid of the wing, please? Yes, thank you. Okay. So it's just a regular GT. I had some pretty good tires on it. There were 3 15s in the back. There were honkers on the back. Fronts were, I believe, 2 85s. It was sitting on some, fuck, what were they? They were actually similar to this. Bullet wheels, that's what they were. Which I don't think are in this game. They were factory 18. These are 18s as well. The back had quite a bit poke here. Something similar to that, actually. It was automatic, built auto. Brakes were stock. It was on Lumina coilovers. Who makes them? Lumina ground control, I believe, was the brand. It's factory, pretty much. Had an some sort of cold air intake, the one you see on all the SN95s. Edelbrock intake manifold, some sort of injector. MSD distributor cap and coil and all that. Bassani long tubes on some sort of exhaust, had a cam in it. Valves, I'm not sure. Like I said, it was a 331, which comes up to like a 5.455 or something, 5.5 something. We're not going to get close to it. It was a forged bottom end, and we're not going to worry about that. So yeah, this is pretty much how it was. It was a pretty weak motor. It did not make 300 or 515 horsepower. I'd say maybe made around 300. It was pretty embarrassing. It was just a 5-liter. And yeah, 5 liters are hard to get power out of. So we're going to move on to paint. I'm going to paint the wheels and tint the windows. And that's pretty much how it was. So yeah. So this was pretty much how the car was. It was sitting on the black bullet wheels. It had a polished lip on it, which are not available in the game. It was a 95 SN95, which is not in the game, with factory GT spoiler, which is not in the game. It was pretty dark tint. Had a Termi front end, I believe. Had a different hood on it. It was 331 stroker. Built auto, cams, heads, long tubes, Edelbrock intake, manifold. There was a lot of work done to it. It was slow because it was a 5.0 and they don't make any power unless you put a really nasty set of heads and cam in them and spray them. But yeah, this is pretty much how the car was. Sounded good, was slow, kind of, traded it for the next car, so you're going to see that here in a second. Okay, so my next and current project car isn't in the game as well, but this is pretty much as close as we're going to get to it. It's a 1994 Audi S4, S4, 5-speed Quattro. Big turbo, fully built engine, forged piston rod, cams, big injectors, big turbo, you name it. It's a fun car, big brakes. Yeah, so we're gonna try and build it here. We don't need any of that. Body is pretty much stock, so we're not gonna worry about that. Pretty much a sleeper car. Does have some good tires on it. They are 245s actually, so we're going to leave that. For wheels, I have a set of 1552 Tarmacs. So we're going to run those in Rally White. They are 18s, so we're going to have to up those, I believe. And they fit just about like that, too. Clutch is a South Bend Stage 4 Extreme Street clutch. It was the biggest or the strongest single plate they offer for that car. It's like 550 foot-pounds. Trans is completely stock. Drivetrain is completely stock. They do not need anything to go fast. Big brakes I do have is actually the factory RS2 brakes would be the Porsche 996 Boxster S Brembo 4 pistons in the front, sitting on D2 2003, might be D3 A8 rotors, the 323 mil rotors. So we're just going to leave the stock brakes because that's pretty much how it is on Apical RS2 replica caliper brackets. The car is on ABT tuning coilovers, or ABT tuning lowering springs on Bilstein struts, which was a Bilstein package back in the day. It rides about like that. It is a Nagaro blue car like this, so we're gonna leave the paint. No caging. No, I got rid of AC, so we'll just do the first one. Intake, what intake? It's a filter on the turbo. Big injectors, 1000cc FIDs. Ignition is the 2.0 TFSI coils, 3-inch exhaust, and downpipe. Cam, 7A cams, so we're just gonna do the basic NA cam. Springs, I do have a set of springs in there. They're the 034s. Stock displacement. Well, actually, it's not a stock displacement either. It's not a 2.6 though, I'll say that. Forged piston and rod. Has a big honking turbo on it. Has a front mount intercooler in it. Has a factory oil cooler, so we're just gonna kind of leave it at that. And it's just a steel flywheel. It got rid of the dual mass. It's just a factory 7A steel flywheel. It looks pretty much like this, actually. It's just white tarmacs, Nagaro blue car. The calipers are solar orange, I believe, is the paint color for it. It's a B8 S5 color, S4 color, so it's a solar orange. So I can't match that. There's no tint on. Actually, it has the factory tint, and I like that. Where it's kind of blue, you can kind of see it through the background there. It has that factory tint on it yet. So yeah, this is pretty much the car. Okay, we'll move on to Forza Vista. We'll take a look around the car here. And my car does have the dual tip like that. They're 4-inch tips though. Just trying to jump into this thing. Does have carbon fiber dash pieces. I do not have this wheel. I have the Nardi, the 3-spoke Nardi wheel from the S2. And a wood shift knob. White face gauges just like that, except my gauge cluster goes like all the way over to where those vents are. But yeah, this is very similar. I'm kind of sad to see this doesn't have the Nagaro blue interior like all the Nagaro cars do. But that's what mine has. So we're on to the second to last car. It's my current daily driver. It is a 2010 Audi S5, which is not in this game, sadly. They only put the RS cars in here for some stupid reason. It is a supercharged car. It's not the V8, so it's actually fast. Shots fired. It's actually this front bumper here, surprisingly. Does not have that one. However, it does have a big lip on it, which I'm kind of disappointed I can't have, so we're just going to rock this bumper here. But yeah, that's the factory S5 bumper. I do have I don't have that grill. I have the RS5 grill. So we're just going to leave that. And they don't have any lip spoilers, so I can't put my spoiler on it. And that actually looks like my bumper, except they have dual exit exhaust. So we're going to rock that. It's pretty plain on the outside, besides a lip and spoiler. Tires are good tires, I'd say. They have I have 275 square. However, they actually don't have 275, so I'm just going to put the 285s on. They're 20-inch RSR RS702s, which they obviously are not going to have in this game. They are 20s, 20 by 10 plus 25. They are pretty much perfectly flush to the body, which is nice. Drivetrain's pretty much stock. It is on coilovers. It's maybe a tad lower than that. No factory, nothing, no other suspension mods really. It does have an ECS carbon intake. Does not have an exhaust yet, sadly. And it does have a tune, so we're just going to slap the tune on here. It makes 441 horsepower on 93 octane. That's somewhere like 12 psi of boost. Not much factory boost. This is pretty much how it is too, actually. Just very subtle. Obviously they don't have the lip spoiler or the front lip in this game, so I can't put those on, or the carbon mirrors, or the wheels that I have. And it's also convertible, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But yeah, this is very similar to what it looks like. And on to the last one. Unfortunately, is not in the game again. Come on, Playground Games or Turn 10, whoever does this one. It's an 84 Mitsubishi Mighty Max mini truck project. Just plan to put an LS in it. I'm not too sure yet. But yeah, that pretty much just wraps this video up. It's going to be a pretty long one. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you later.